Hallöchen, ihr Lieben. Ja, wir spielen jetzt ein komplett anderes Spiel als sonst. Her Story ist nicht dieses übliche Spiel mit erreiche den und den Punktestand oder das und das Level oder Kapitel zu Kapitel, wie auch immer. Das ist ein frei spielbares Spiel mit einer echten Figur, einer Dame, einer Schauspielerin, die uns ja so ein Interview bezüglich einer Verdächtigung, einer verdächtigen Person in einem Mordfall darstellt. Und das Ganze ist ja ganz gut umgesetzt. Ich persönlich bin jetzt nicht so der Super-Fan von diesem Spiel, aber da ich es mir gekauft habe, würde ich es dann doch einmal ganz gerne durchspielen, in Anführungsstrichen. Was bedeutet, dass man im Endeffekt alle Videofetzen finden muss. Diese Videofetzen findet man über Worte, die man eingibt. Wenn man so ein bisschen dem ganzen Verlauf dort folgt, dem, was die Frau einem erzählt, die man dann dort sieht, dann wird man feststellen, dass dort ja, sehr viele Infos rüberkommen und aus diesen Sätzen kann man sich dann selber Schlagwörter nehmen oder wenn einem selber etwas einfällt, natürlich auch diese verwenden. Die Schlagwörter, die ich nutze oder vielleicht auch mal Teilsätze, wie auch immer, werde ich unter das Video posten, damit man das nochmal hat. Falls irgendjemand irgendwann dieses Spiel spielen will und einem auffällt, mir fehlt noch was und ich finde das Video nicht, aber die hat das, dann kann er das natürlich gerne verwenden. Das, was ich jetzt zu Anfang einmal so durchklicke, sind quasi nur diese Erklärungen, die ich jetzt gerade auch gegeben habe. Im spielerischen Sinne soll das bedeuten, dass dieses Archiv hier jemandem zur Verfügung gestellt wird. Wem wird am Ende auch bekannt gegeben. Und diese Person dann ja sich so ihr eigenes Bild von dem Ganzen machen sollte, könnte, wie auch immer. Ja, es ist halt ein bisschen schwierig zum Schreiben. Da gibt es sicher Leute, die das besser können als ich. Nichtsdestotrotz, es ist ein Spiel und das möchte ich jetzt mit euch spielen und ich hoffe, ihr seid da genauso neugierig. Vielleicht habt ihr auch selber Schlagworte, die man mal nutzen kann, wobei schwierig, da ich die Videos ja meistens vorproduziere und dementsprechend dann vermutlich die Worte schon genutzt wurden oder ja, ich einfach vorher schon fertig bin, wie dem auch sei. Nichtsdestotrotz, das Spiel war im Bundle mit Telling Lies, somit habe ich das natürlich dann auch. Und ja, es war jetzt nicht super teuer, deswegen ich glaube, ich habe umgerechnet 8 Euro, 7 oder 8 Euro dafür bezahlt bei Steam. Muss man mal gucken, Steam hat immer wieder so kleine Angebote für diverse Spiele. Dann lohnt es sich auch, solche zu kaufen. Okay, ich wünsche euch viel Spaß und hin und wieder werde ich natürlich auch noch irgendwo was dazu sagen. Aber ja, vermutlich eher nicht, denn viele Dinge sind hier tatsächlich selbsterklärend. Viel Spaß!
You think it's murder? I mean, clearly it's murder. What can I do to help? Yeah, that's me. But February, I mean, that was months ago. What's that got to do with Simon's murder? I didn't murder Simon. You've got it wrong. You've got the wrong person. I'd like to speak to a lawyer now. Please. You have no murder weapon. You have nothing. And all these stories we've been telling each other, just that. Stories. So, it was Friday evening. We had an argument. He left. On Saturday, he didn't come back. I waited all day. He was supposed to go help Eric out with something on the Saturday afternoon. They had a job. He didn't show. So Eric was ringing on the phone. I checked at the Rock, that's our local. They said they'd seen him on the Friday night, but not since. He still wasn't back this morning. It just isn't like him at all. Still not back by dinner time. It's getting dark again. So I decided to come and see you. His parents haven't heard anything either. Sure? Yes, of course, if that would help. Will you phone the house to let me know when you want to come round? Then I can make sure that I'm there. No, he doesn't keep a diary. That's my thing. I've kept one, well, as long as I can remember, since I was a girl. It helps make sense of my day. And when you're forced to put something into words, it just gives you perspective. Everyone's on the same page. Diana's really nice. She helps out with the glaziers, organises the Christmas party, that sort of thing. They have 2 kids, really sweet kids. She used to look out for me when I worked there. When you've been married for 10 years, stuff accumulates. You could argue about anything. And he's so nice. That doesn't help. He tries to smooth things over, and that just makes it worse. We're both passive-aggressive, so we never normally argue directly about anything. Well, I don't know. I probably had to pop out and get something, that's why I was speeding. And that wouldn't have been noted on my timesheet. But I really can't remember back to February. Can I leave? Are you going to arrest me? No. They'd laugh you out of the building. A lawyer would make mincemeat of you. Yes, I understand my rights. No, I don't need a lawyer. Yes. No lawyer. What are you going to arrest me for? Like I said, I think I was popping out to get something, ran out of something, had to grab something. I sometimes drive too fast. If you want, you can arrest me for that. This is a nice of them. This is where you take people when it's time to arrest them. Can you arrest someone who doesn't exist? Okay. Sounds weird. I'm not great at making up stories. Yes, I read a lot as a child and watched lots of TV. Then the doll's house we still have in the attic. It's kind of a fairy castle. We used to play out there and make up our own stories. Fairy tales. Stories about lost princesses, evil witches, magical mirrors and lost children. So you see, even before I knew the truth, I'd found it in those stories. No, it was just me and her. It was the name they were going to call their first child. They talked about it and were going to try when he came back. Florence's family had a history of firstborn girls, so they were convinced it was going to be a girl. It's hard to know if this is all true. These are stories I remember, that I read when I was a child. Maybe I misread, maybe I misunderstood. Sometimes it's hard to remember what happened last week. I'm not sure where the dollhouse came from. I don't know if it was given to them or they inherited it. I mean, they wouldn't have had the money to buy it. It was so huge. It must have been taken up to the attic in parts and then reassembled up there. It's a beautiful thing. Wallpaper to scale, little furniture, the lights work, mirrors, beds, big duvets and pillows. We spent hours and hours playing in it, invented all these characters and families who lived there. We wrote paperwork for them all, passports, diaries, and gave them all really elaborate stories. Once, a moth got trapped in there. We'd left a light on. It was making the most horrendous noise. We tried to kill it, but it was tough. We ended up crushing it under a copy of the Arabian Nights. Yes, we'd fight. We fought on the beach once and I held Eve's head underwater. There was no one else around. It was at the far end of the beach and I held her head under and I kept it under. And for a moment, I just wanted to kill her and watch her drown. But that was it. It was just a moment. We made up afterwards. It was a love-hate relationship. What did your wife do? She didn't kill you. You think I killed Simon because he was having an affair? Well, I didn't kill him. I wasn't even there. I was in Glasgow worrying about whether my baby was still growing inside me. I mean, why would I kill Simon? I loved him. I mean, what if they were crazy? You hear about these crazy people all the time. I mean, why would anyone who knew Simon want to kill him? Okay. There's a girl and she's staring out of the window. She's sad. She's trapped. She's here. She's looking out the window because her mother won't let her out. Good, happy. I mean, ups and downs like any couple, I guess, but we've been married for over 10 years. So, our sex life is probably fairly average for a couple after 10 years of marriage. Across the road, where my parents first lived there, was a midwife called Florence. When Hannah was born, I was born at the same time. The midwife was there to help. I'd been throttled by the cord, probably wrapped around my neck by Hannah. The midwife told my mother I was dead, but I wasn't. She wrote all this stuff in a diary. Amazing what people will admit to on paper. Florence was a warm, kind person, but she was broken, I guess. When I found her diary, I also found a biscuit tin with other stuff in it. Older papers, letters, that kind of thing. Her story was in there. I never really spoke to her about it. I was far too young to really understand. I guess I just put it together later, once I was older. She had loved children, planned to have a large family, but her husband died in the war. And that's back when you married for life. She never felt like she could marry again. Isn't that strange? She was a widow from her 20s. But, I mean, I guess it was different then. You know, you married for life and she felt she could never marry again. I guess it was harder, a war widow. One of the dead. I don't know, maybe there was more to it than that. I don't really know. When I was 8, Mother died. She slipped down the stairs. It was an accident. I had read a diary at that point and I knew she wasn't my real mother. So I burned the diary that day and I left. Walked out and across the street. It just became our way of life. We would swap places and take it in turns to do things. And we were very careful. Whoever had been out that day would come back and write a detailed diary so that we were on the same page. We had a list of rules that said what we could and couldn't do in any given situation. It was exhaustive. We lived a second life through those rules. Rules for things that could only ever happen inside our imaginations. We would consider all the permutations of future events and agree rules to walk our way through them. I got pregnant. both our parents had a big powwow. We weren't even in the room, and they decided we should get married. No, I lost the baby. I had a miscarriage at 8 months. We carried on living at Simon's parents until, well, it was only a few months after. Then my parents died. It was the worst year of my life. The miscarriage and then my parents. Yes, I inherited it from my parents, so it made sense to move back, me and Simon. Felt like going back to old ways before the pregnancy. Reminded me of being a girl, a dollhouse in the attic, old things. We didn't sleep in my parents' bedroom for a long time. We decorated it as soon as we moved in, but it was another year before we started sleeping there.